Hello, everyone. My name is Shannon Glasgow, and I'm the Title IX coordinator at Monroe Community College.
Hi, my name is Shelby Trudeau, and I'm the Prevention and Education Advisor at Monroe Community College.
And we would like to welcome you today to our online orientation about Title IX and creating a culture of respect at MCC. We want to remind everybody that we think it's everyone's job to create and maintain an environment where all people feel safe and respected. It is our collective responsibility to take this seriously. We encourage you to promote respect and fairness through your words and your actions. We also encourage you to be an active bystander and speak up if you see someone engaging in behavior that is inappropriate or disrespectful. We also encourage you to report instances of misconduct that you see or learn about. Title IX, what do we mean? Put simply, Title IX is a law that states no person in the United States shall on the basis of sex be excluded from participation in, be denied the benefits of, or be subjected to discrimination under any educational program or activity receiving federal assistance. We want you to know that we take this seriously and that MCC must and will respond promptly and effectively to any reports of sexual harassment, including sexual violence, that create a hostile environment. A little bit more about Title IX. Who is protected by Title IX? All students and employees, regardless of their sex, gender, sexual orientation, gender identity, or expression, are protected under Title IX. So what are our obligations under Title IX? Our obligations are that we must respond promptly and effectively to reports of sexual harassment, including sexual violence, domestic violence, stalking, and gender-based discrimination that creates a hostile environment. We will stop the discrimination or violence, prevent its recurrence, and remedy its effects. When we talk about sexual harassment, there's a few examples that we wanted to share with you. Some of those include unwelcome physical contact, requests for sexual favors, persistent requests for dates, phone calls, persistent emails and texts, and other communication that's unwelcome. Think about your posters, your photos, your cartoons, or graffiti that could be demeaning or offensive. Using sexual language and jokes of a sexual nature, leering or staring, comments that are demeaning, humiliating, suggestive, insulting, vulgar, crude, or lewd, sexual gestures, following or stalking, taking unwanted pictures that are sexual in nature, and giving preferential treatment or promise of preferential treatment in exchange of sexual conduct. So these are just a few examples of sexual harassment to help you better understand what we're talking about when we say sexual harassment.
All right, so next we're going to talk about affirmative consent. So affirmative consent is necessary whenever sexual interactions are occurring. So basically, affirmative consent is clear. There's no questioning whether or not consent is present. It is clear and obvious. It's not coerced, so no one is forced into giving consent. If it's forced, it's not consent. It's active, so it's ongoing throughout the sexual activity. There's mutual agreement, so all parties involved in the sexual act must be in agreement that they want to do what is happening. It can be withdrawn at any time. If someone changes their mind, that's it. They withdraw their consent and the sexual activity must stop. Incapacitation affects consent in that you cannot give consent when you are incapacitated. This might look like sleeping, being on drugs or alcohol, or physical or mental disability. Next, we're going to watch a short video that talks to you about consent, explaining it a little bit more.
If you're still struggling with consent, just imagine instead of initiating sex, you're making them a cup of tea. You say, "Hey, would you like a cup of tea?" And they go, "Oh my God, I would love a cup of tea, thank you." Then you know they want a cup of tea. If you say, "Hey, would you like a cup of tea?" And they're like, I'm not really sure. Then you can make them a cup of tea, or not, but be aware that they might not drink it. And if they don't drink it, then and this is the important bit, don't make them drink it. Just because you made it doesn't mean you're entitled to watch them drink it. And if they say, no thank you, then don't make them tea at all. Just don't make them tea. Don't make them drink tea. Don't get annoyed at them for not wanting tea. They just don't want tea, okay? They might say, yes, please, that's kind of you. And then when the tea arrives, they actually don't want the tea at all. Sure, that's kind of annoying as you've gone to all the effort of making the tea, but they remain under no obligation to drink the tea. They did want tea, now they don't. Some people change their mind in the time it takes to boil the kettle, brew the tea, and add the milk. And it's okay for people to change their mind, and you are still not entitled to watch them drink it. And if they are unconscious, don't make them tea. Unconscious people don't want tea, and they can't answer the question, do you want tea? Because they're unconscious. Okay, maybe they were conscious when you asked them if they wanted tea, and they said yes, but in the time it took you to boil the kettle or brew the tea and add the milk, they are now unconscious. You should just put the tea down, make sure the unconscious person is safe, and this is the important part again, don't make them drink the tea. They said yes then, sure, but unconscious people don't want tea. If someone said yes to tea, started drinking it, and then passed out before they'd finished it, don't keep on pouring it down their throat. Take the tea away. Make sure they are safe, because unconscious people don't want tea. Trust me on this. If someone said yes to tea around your house last Saturday, that doesn't mean they want you to make them tea all the time. They don't want you to come around to their place unexpectedly and make them tea and force them to drink it, going, but you wanted tea last week, or to wake up to find you pouring tea down their throat, going, but you wanted tea last night. If you can understand how completely ludicrous it is to force people to have tea when they don't want tea, and you are able to understand when people don't want tea, then how hard is it to understand when it comes to sex? Whether it's tea or sex, consent is everything. And on that note, I'm going to make myself a cup of tea.
All right, so how to better understand what your resources, your rights, and your options are. So you always have the option to report the incident to MCC Public Safety, local law enforcement, or the New York State Police. You also have the choice not to make a report. You can also report the incident to MCC's Title IX coordinator, which is myself, or a Title IX officer. You also have the right to be protected by MCC from retaliation for making a report. We also will make sure that you receive assistance and resources from MCC. Below are a couple options that you can go and explore with lists of different resources, options, support services, and reporting options in the community and at MCC. Below is our SUNY Saver, which is with the web address below, as well as our MCC Title IX website. MCC also has an amnesty policy. So what is our amnesty policy? Our amnesty policy states that a bystander acting in good faith or a reporting individual acting in good faith who discloses an incident of domestic violence, dating violence, stalking, or sexual assault to MCC officials or law enforcement will not be subject to the MCC Code of Conduct for violations of alcohol or drug use occurring at near or the time of the commission of the violence. Okay, so why do we need an amnesty policy? We have this because we want to make sure that people are encouraged to report incidents of sexual or interpersonal violence without fearing that they're going to receive a punishment for using alcohol or drug at the time of the incident.
Okay, so next we're going to talk a little bit about bystander intervention. I like this image. It shows a woman holding up a sign that says, "I always wondered why somebody didn't do something about that. Then I realized I was somebody." So you can be an active bystander. Some ways that you can do that are to direct, distract, and delegate. So direct means you're intervening directly in the situation. Distract means that you interrupt the situation that's going on. Delegate means that you ask somebody else who might be better equipped to help with the situation. That might be public safety, a teacher, a staff member, anybody. as a tool to delegate, we also have a free app. It's called the Guardian app. You can call public safety through it, so I encourage looking for the Rave Guardian app in your app store.
So we want to tell you thank you so much for attending our Title IX orientation today, and welcome to MCC. If you have any questions or want further information, please feel free to contact me. My name is Shannon Glasgow, and below is my email and phone number with any questions. We also encourage you to follow us on Instagram at LoveBetterMCC. Thank you, and again, welcome to MCC.